My regular job, my first regular job, was doing cartoons for the University of Minnesota Daily. And then I got a job when they went on strike. Another newspaper board started in Minneapolis called the Minneapolis, God, what was that called? Oh, the Daily American. And so I went to work for them for a while. Then I went to, as an artist, I went to work for Gamble Skagmo in Minneapolis. Then I was art director for a place that sold cars and car parts.
Is that when you did the Champion Auto guy?
Yeah, I did a little Champion Man that they publicized, yeah, and got it syndicated. Then I went to work for Star and Tribune, and just as on a lark, I did cartoons for the paper. And sure enough, they liked them, started running them. They lost, with one of my cartoons critical of the Pope, they lost about $100,000 with advertising. People quit the newspaper. And then I spent about 3 years there doing 3 cartoons a week. And then went to Tulsa, where I did a cartoon a day. And that was a nice experience. And then I went to Omaha, where I worked there for 12.
The Omaha
World Herald for 12 years. And then came to Rochester, where I worked for them for 38 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And plus, this whole time, you're also doing syndications.
Yeah, and the big one was when the Omaha, or the cartoonstock.com was turned out to be a good idea because I got a small check every month.
Yeah, so Cartoon Stock you've been doing for like the last 10 years?
Yeah.
That's based out of London.
Yeah, right.
When did you do your first book?
Somebody that I was working with said, why don't you do a cartoon about, or book about Lutefisk? And I've done several.
Okay, so that was your first book, was Lutefisk?
Yeah, it sold pretty good.
And it sold pretty good in Minnesota, because if
Yeah.
it went to Texas, they might not know what it is.
And even my Minnesota book, you're in Minnesota if I think it sold almost 1,000.
I remember your books were in Spencer's. That was like a novelty gift shop all over.
Yeah, I even went down to where my daughter lives in Jacksonville, and I went to a small shop there and found one of my books.
Yeah.
And it was 101 things to do with the mosquito. So they must have mosquitoes down there.
That's a universal theme right there.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
and it was.
That's true.
I just haven't regretted anything. All the editors liked me. Crowds. I went to probably over 100 or 150 talks that I did through the years.
Yeah, you would do like a slideshow.
Yeah, I do a slideshow, and then I do caricatures, which would get a big laugh. Should I tell them about the time that we had the nuns? And
Sure. Right, it's fine. Is this a clean joke?
Yeah, well, it kind of is, because it just I don't know, just happened, and it was about 500 or more people that were with the Mayo Clinic, and they were volunteers that did work for them. And included in that was, the church was a very big part of when the Mayo Clinic started out. And at this one table of all the volunteers, we had about 10 or 15 nuns. And my gimmick was that I would say, I've got these symbols, tell me, raise your hand, and that means that you've got that characteristic.
Yeah, so you would show symbols
Smart,
and say, which
yeah.
one's your favorite?
Smart, yeah, right, which is your favorite? So the last one out of those 5 or more 100 people was the circle, and it meant I'm too addicted to sex.
And that's what the nuns picked?
And the nuns all threw up their hands, and that place didn't quiet in that auditorium for, I'll bet 5 or 10 minutes. And they were good sports.
Good, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I really did work a lot with the Mayo, too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
Okay.
Good. Thank you.
Good.